trust. S-Y-N-E-R-G-Y. Your diamond shines. Your diamond, how it shines. This is how.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Bye bye 2020. Welcome 2021. Hello, Ernie Beggs here, and welcome to the Story Behind the Song podcast. This song is When You're Old by Paul Woodward from his debut album, Field Recordings. Enjoy.
When You're Old is from Field Recordings, which was released in 2004. The album was recorded in Temple Bar Studios, or it was called Sun Studios at the time, and Apollo, which was across the street. Engineering the album was a guy called Garrett Mannix. Now, Garrett went on to work with most of the big bands that came out of Ireland, but at the time he had just finished work on Damien Dempsey's first album, and he was working with Jerry Fish and the Mudbug Club. Now, I was very impressed when I went back to look at Garrett's credentials. He's worked with Elbow, the Beta Band, the Blizzards, the Flaws, Aslan. But more impressively, he has worked with John Leckie, who of course done the Stone Roses and Radiohead, The Verve. So Garrett has really done some good things since doing Field Recordings. But at the time I was listening to a lot of country music, country rock music, people like Graham Parsons, and in particular the song Love Hurts with Graham Parsons and Emmylou Harris. That song would have had an influence on When You're Old, and in fact When You're Old is kind of a half duet, and the female singer on the track is Kiara Brown, who is actually from Australia. She was a songwriter from Australia. I don't know how I actually got in touch with her, but she came in the studio. She understood exactly what I was trying to do with the song, and she done a fantastic job. So that's what I remember about the song, is that it had a country influence. There's a lot of slide guitar on it. Michael Cairns plays a lot of the guitar, and also Dave Frew. They were the two guitar players predominantly on the record, and they done really good if you listen to how diverse a lot of the tracks are. So it just goes to show how skilled Dave and Mick were to cover all the genre hopping which is on the Field Recordings album. 1 minute it's an indie rock song, and then the next minute it goes to country. So they really could cover a lot of ground. I suppose musically at the time I wasn't really part of any club or scene. I felt like I was a little bit on my own, or left to my own devices. There wasn't much of it. I wasn't playing the songwriter nights, and I wasn't really meeting a peer group, so I was kind of oblivious to anything else that was going on at the time. And I think maybe the record shows a bit of that it's kind of like it's not really trying to fit into anything. So I have this theory that a lot of really good songs have a bit of a search in them. So the real good songs are kind of the ones that where you're searching your subconscious and you're searching yourself for the answer to things that are bothering you or troubling you. It's like a kind of therapy. And so I was kind of looking at that. So when you're old, then you'll know. I was looking for wisdom in my life. I'm looking for some kind of answers, the right answers to stuff that was confusing me. So I went to this music seminar thing, and it was like this top songwriter, Ralph Murphy, I think his name was, and he wrote #1 hits in Nashville and in America and in the charts. And I played the song from him, and he said that it sounded like it wasn't finished. And I said, well, it's kind of an economical song. And he says, yeah, but it's so economical you didn't make an investment. At the weekends I like to spend time at home. He says, he said there's not enough detail in the song. What do you do on Monday? What do you do on Tuesday? He said to me. He said it's all about the detail. And he could have a point. I didn't really flesh it all out, but I mean, I didn't want to write a big epic Bob Dylan 10 verses thing. So it's kind of, I like to call it economical, but I was only learning at the time as well. But I still think the song stands up for what it is. So the video was shot, a lot of it was shot on Super 8 camera, and I had a Super 8 camera, and I also worked with a guy called Bop who worked for Dublin On Camera, and he had Super 8 cameras, and we went up the Dublin Mountains and we took some footage. And also Finbar Smith, who actually done a bit of the graphics for the artwork, and he done video work. He worked for RTE. He was actually a sound man for RTE, but he shot some video as well. And I must mention Gary Connolly actually done the artwork for the album. He compiled it, and he done a fantastic job on that as well. I really like the cover of the album, and I think it kind of really sums up my first album. I was taking the plunge, kind of, it's a bather diving into water. It's my first album. And anyway, that's kind of getting distracted, but the video itself shows some old St. Patrick's Day parade footage, which I actually got the rights to because Finbar, I think his uncle took the footage, and he owned the rights to it, and he let me use it. And so it's kind of some St. Patrick's Day parade footage from the 60s in Dublin, mixed with some Super 8 footage of us dressed up as cowboys. Yeah, so it's myself and Michael Cairns with cowboy hats at the end of the video. And if you watch the video right to the end, there's a bit at the end where you'll hear some fiddle playing. And it's a kind of gypsy style fiddle playing. The guy who actually came in and played on the song, you can't really hear much fiddle. There might be a tiny bit in the background, but at the end, a guy called Patrick Collins, who played in the Cafe Orchestra, and he also was in a folk band called Mushroom, who were very influential in the 70s in Ireland, and influenced people like Steve Wickham from the Waterboys. Pat Collins was the fiddle player. Sadly, he passed away last year, and you can really hear his dexterous style of fiddle playing. And I was very impressed with how fast he could play, and we used it as an interlude. He came into the studio, he was in a hurry. He was kind of in and out in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So if you listen to the end of the video, you'll hear Pat Collins playing fiddle. Thanks. Enjoy the video.
When you're old, then you'll know all the people I know seek forgiveness for losing the plot. Someday soon, like it or not, at the weekends I like to spend time alone.
Now the road that you're on
spend time at the weekends. I like to spend time alone. At the weekends, when you're old, then you'll know all the people I know seek forgiveness for losing the plot. At the weekends, I like to spend time. At the weekends, I like to spend time alone. At the weekends, I like to spend time alone.